They said people like me didn't deserve a place in their world. Yesterday, they humiliated me at the restaurant's door, just like years ago when I was a nobody. But today I came back, driving a bright red Ferrari, in a fine suit, and with a resolve they have never seen before. What I do next will surprise even those who've seen it all. But let's start from the beginning. I'm standing on the sidewalk, gazing at the familiar outlines of the streets. This place hasn't changed. The same dust, the same narrow alleyways, the same faces that don't notice me. I was once part of this city, its invisible shadow, a person who simply existed but didn't matter. That day, many years ago, I left, vowing to myself that I would never again let this street remind me of who I used to be. Now I'm back, but I'm a different man. No more desperate attempts to prove something to this world. I'm Jackson Roberts, the man who built an empire out of what others thought impossible. And I haven't returned just to stroll down memory lane. No, my arrival is part of my plan. The memories of being denied entry to the White District restaurant in my youth still leave a bitter taste in my mouth. That taste, a mix of rage and resentment, I've locked deep inside for a long time. Today, I'll unleash it. I slowly exhale, holding on to the memory of when I stood before those closed doors, hearing the cold words, "We don't serve people like you here." When you feel like a nobody, it seeps into every cell of your body. But I learned to fight it, to forge my anger into strength. Today, I'll be the one returning for justice. I head for the doors of that very restaurant. They'll be open for me. There's no other way. As I approach the doors of the White District, my heart stays calm. But inside, something else stirs. It's not anger. It's control. I'm no longer the guy who can be thrown off course. I might be dressed casually, but that doesn't change who I am. I have money, I have power, everything is mine. And if they don't see it on the outside, they'll know soon enough. At the entrance stands a guard, the same type who thinks he's more important than everyone else. His eyes scan me, then my clothes, and I see the contempt growing in his gaze. He doesn't even get a chance to speak before he's joined by the hostess, a slim blonde with perfectly styled hair. Her look at me is as if she's examining something filthy that's out of place here. "Sorry, but we're fully booked today," she says, barely hiding her irritation. I already know this isn't about reservations. It's about how I look. My clothes to them are a signal that I don't belong in their world. Yesterday's memories flash back in my mind, but this time I don't feel hurt, only cold calm. This isn't a scene where I need to prove anything with words. "We don't serve people like you," the guard says quietly, his tone like a punch to the gut. I try to stay calm. My gaze is focused, my body relaxed, but everything inside is screaming. Is this what you came back for? To stand here again, hearing the same words, facing the same looks? I inhale slowly, not letting these emotions take over. "I just want to speak with the manager," I say, keeping my voice steady. But in response, I get a shove. The guard pushes me like I'm something worthless. The crowd nearby notices this. Some laugh. They see me as just another loser, and no one steps in. I'm invisible again. But this is just part of the game. They don't know who they're playing with. I walk out of the White District, ignoring the laughter behind me. I could explode with anger, but that would be too easy. They humiliated me. They wiped their feet on a man who was once a nobody. But it's not about what they did today. It was predictable. It's about what happens tomorrow. As I walk along the sidewalk, the next step of my plan begins to form in my mind. One phrase echoes in my head. They made their mistake. Now I have a plan they won't even see coming. I won't let their humiliation break me. No, this will be my strength. I've been here before. I know this feeling. They think I'm the same person I was years ago. They don't know I'm already one step ahead. The sun lazily breaks through the glass skyscrapers as I pull out of the garage. The roads are empty, and the city seems to be asleep. But not me. Today marks a new chapter. I'm heading back to the White District, but this time, everything is different. I'm driving my bright red Ferrari, a car that symbolizes everything I've achieved. I'm wearing an expensive suit, perfectly tailored to my body. Every detail of my appearance is a statement, and I'm about to make it loud and clear. My heart beats steadily, without hesitation. I know that today, everything will change. They won't recognize me. The irony is that yesterday, I was a nobody in their eyes, but today they'll grovel before me, thinking I'm someone important. Yesterday, I let them humiliate me, let them show their disrespect, but it was necessary. It gave me a clear understanding of how little they think of people who don't fit their mold. I hate that part of myself, the one that wants to prove to everyone that I'm better. But I also understand that without it, I wouldn't be who I am today. Long ago, I might have just walked away, cursing them under my breath. But now, I'm not that man. I have the power, the money, and the strength to change all of this. And I'll be the one to change the rules of this game. Yesterday was a test. Today, I'm coming back for what's mine. I parked the Ferrari right at the entrance to the restaurant. Immediately, I noticed the guard turning toward me, his face first tense, then almost respectful. He doesn't recognize me. Yesterday, I was a nobody, but today, I'm the embodiment of success. In his eyes, I'm no longer someone who can be shoved out the door. He opens the door for me, and I confidently walk in. The hostess, the same one who laughed at me yesterday when she refused to give me a table, doesn't recognize me either. Her face lights up with a welcoming smile. I notice how her eyes quickly assess my suit, my watch, even my shoes. She instantly identifies me as an important client. Her smile widens. "Welcome, sir. We have available tables. Would you like to choose one yourself?" She says with such warmth that I can barely suppress an internal laugh. Yesterday, she didn't even give me a chance to speak. "I'd like to meet with the restaurant's owner," I calmly reply, without changing my expression. For a moment, her smile falters. She wasn't expecting such a request, but her trained manners quickly take over. "Of course, sir. One moment." She hurries off to relay the message. I sit at the nearest table. A waiter brings me a menu, but I don't need it. This is all just a performance. Now the game is being played by my rules. I know they're nervous, sensing something's wrong, but they still can't figure out who I am or why I'm here. A few minutes later, the office door swings open, and the restaurant's owner, an elderly man in an immaculate jacket, approaches me with a smile. His eyes sparkle with curiosity and expectation. "How may I assist you, sir?" he asks, slightly bowing. It's a familiar gesture of a man used to wealthy and influential clients. I look him straight in the eye, letting the silence hang for a split second. Then I speak. "I want to buy this restaurant." The owner freezes. I can see the thoughts racing through his mind as he tries to process my words. Buying the restaurant wasn't what he expected. He thought I came as an ordinary customer, looking to enjoy a good meal, perhaps flaunt my wealth. But I didn't come for the food. I came for something much bigger. "Excuse me, you want to buy the White District?" His voice trembles ever so slightly. He's not prepared for such an offer. "Exactly," I confirm, keeping my tone even. "And I'm not interested in discussing the price. I have the means. The question is, are you willing to sell?" I can see his mind working feverishly, trying to weigh the pros and cons. This establishment is undoubtedly his pride and joy. But money, it always changes the game. He understands that a deal like this would allow him to bow out gracefully, leave it all behind, and enjoy the rest of his life without worrying about finances. I suppose that's possible," he finally says. There's hesitation in his eyes, but it quickly fades under the weight of greed. He's almost agreed. "Great," I reply. "Let's start the paperwork. I don't intend to waste time." We arrange to meet with the lawyers. I walk out of his office, feeling the inner tension give way to triumph. Everything went better than I expected. They fell for my appearance, my status, but they have no idea there's much more behind it. I exit through the same doors I was thrown out of yesterday. This time, with a feeling of complete victory. They made their mistake. Now I own the White District, and tomorrow they'll know exactly who I am. I stand by the large window of my new office in the White District. My gaze sweeps across the restaurant's floor. At first, this place felt foreign, almost hostile, but now it's mine. The signature on the contract changed everything. I still can't shake the feeling of triumph. Yesterday, I was the one they despised, rejected, and considered an outsider. But now I'm the owner. No one expected this turn of events. I watch as the employees gather in the dining room for their morning briefing, still unaware that I'm about to disrupt their routine, shake their confidence in tomorrow. Everything that happened to me yesterday is now fading into the background. It was just the introduction. Today, they'll learn what true power is. My thoughts flow calmly, like a river before a storm. I could savor this moment, but something inside pushes me to move forward, not linger in the feeling of victory. After all, this is just the beginning. Today, I'll do what I should have done back then, in my youth. Today, they'll feel the same pain I felt. I open the office door and walk toward them. The crowd of employees gathers around. The guard who pushed me, the hostess who didn't give me a chance to speak, and the others who witnessed my humiliation yesterday, but chose to turn away. I give myself a few seconds to savor this moment. The air is thick with silence, too heavy for a morning meeting. They sense something's wrong, but don't yet understand how wrong. "Good morning," I begin, my voice calm, almost friendly. No one responds. For those who don't know, I'm Jackson Roberts, the new owner of the White District. The first shock ripples through the crowd. Some don't immediately grasp what I'm saying, but most have already realized. I see it in their eyes. The guard tries to maintain a stone face, but his lips begin to tremble. The hostess, the same woman who yesterday disdainfully looked me over, is now barely breathing. "I didn't buy this restaurant for profit," I continue. "Yesterday was a clear reminder of how people are treated here, and today I'm here to fix that." My heart beats evenly, without anxiety. I own this situation as much as I now own this building. So, I've made a decision. Everyone who allowed themselves to show disrespect yesterday, starting with the guard and ending with the hostess, is fired. Effective immediately. Faces twist in shock. I see the guard trying to protest, but his words drown in the grave-like silence. I signal to my assistant, and he begins handing out severance envelopes. "You have 15 minutes to gather your things and leave the building," I say. This isn't revenge. This is retribution for how they treated people, for the system they upheld. I'm not a vengeful person, but sometimes justice requires radical steps. The employees glance at each other in disbelief, unable to comprehend what's happening. When it seems over, I notice her. Mary. She stands slightly apart, eyes downcast, as if afraid her name will be next on the list of the fired. But I remember her look from yesterday. It wasn't one of contempt, it was something different. She looked at me with sympathy. The only one who didn't laugh, who didn't turn away. I stop in front of her. She flinches, feeling my gaze. "You're Mary, right?" I ask. She nods, not raising her eyes. "You were here yesterday when they threw me out the door?" She nods again. I see how uncomfortable she is speaking, as though the fear of losing her job is keeping her from explaining. "You wanted to help but didn't dare, right?" Mary finally looks me in the eye, and in her gaze I read everything. Shame, fear, and regret. "Yes, sir," she replies quietly. "I wanted to, but—" "I understand," I interrupt her. "It wasn't easy. The system you worked in has been broken for a long time, but I'm here to fix it." Mary looks at me confused, clearly not understanding where I'm going with this. "You're not fired," I say calmly. "In fact, I'm offering you a promotion to restaurant manager. I see potential in you, and if you accept my offer, you'll be the first to start changing this place. You'll make it a place where everyone is greeted with respect." Mary's eyes widen in surprise. She clearly didn't expect this turn of events. "Sir, are you sure?" she whispers. "I didn't do anything special." "And that's the point," I reply, looking her directly in the eye. "You didn't do anything wrong, but now you have a chance to do something right." She's silent, trying to digest my words, and finally, a small but genuine smile spreads across her face. "I accept your offer," she says, holding back her emotions. "Good," I respond, feeling satisfaction with my choice. "Welcome to the team, Mary. Now she'll be the face of these changes, and as I watch, I'll know that justice has prevailed. But for me, this story isn't over yet. I've taken the first step, and there's more to come. I wake up early, long before dawn. In the air is a barely perceptible tension, as if the world knows today will be different. I sit at my desk, looking over the plans we've drawn up for the White District. Mary has been working on the restaurant's transformation for several weeks, and the changes are visible even on the surface. But this is just the beginning. Watching this restaurant change, I can't help but feel proud. What was once a symbol of division and arrogance must now become a place where everyone feels welcome. This establishment will no longer be run by the old corrupt rules. There will no longer be a place for discrimination here. I catch myself thinking that this struggle isn't just for the restaurant. It's for me. For the guy who once stood on these streets, staring at doors close to him. And now those doors are open to everyone. We're not just creating a new restaurant. We're building a new perception of this city, a new reality where there's no room for old prejudices. Mary is the perfect person for this. She understands the essence of what I want to change. She feels what true justice is. But I know that change is not always a smooth path. There are people who don't want to see a new order. I sense that the first challenge is already near. The day begins as usual, but I feel something different in the atmosphere of the restaurant. Employees have gathered in the dining room, preparing for the opening. I see Mary going around, making sure everything is perfect. She exudes confidence, her movements quick and precise. I watch her, seeing how she settled into her new role, how confidently she leads the team. She's not just doing the job, she's inspiring them. Jackson, her voice pulls me from my thoughts. Today, we're fully booked. Reservations all day. It seems the new direction is attracting people. That's good. I nod, watching her face carefully. Are we ready? Of course, she replies with a light smile, but I feel she's hiding something. I'm confident everything will go according to plan today. Time passes, and the restaurant fills with patrons. People enter with smiles, they're greeted respectfully, without regard for status or appearance. I sit aside, observing the team's work. Everything is running smoothly. But then the doors open again, and a group of young people enters. They don't look like the usual White District clientele. Their appearance is provocative, their voices loud, their manners free. They clearly don't fit the old standards of this place. Under the previous management, they would have been turned away or made to wait for a free table that never existed. But Mary notices them right away, and without missing a beat, approaches them. Welcome, she says, smiling just as warmly as she does with other guests. Please follow me. We have a great table for you. They pause for a second, surprised by such a reception. I watch their reaction. In the eyes of one of them, I see suspicion, as if he's expecting mockery or refusal. But nothing like that happens. Mary leads them to a table with the same respect she'd show the most important clients. Inside me, a strange feeling grows, a mix of pride and relief. The young people sit down, and the waiter begins to take their order. In the past, they would have been ignored, or worse, outright thrown out. But not today. Today, they're as much guests as anyone else. This has become a symbol of our changes. But I know this test isn't over yet. One of the young men, sitting at the table, looks around carefully, as if searching for a trick. Maybe he's been here before, when the rules were different. Maybe he's expecting a conflict, expecting something to go wrong. He's nervous, and I see him glance quickly at Mary. I tense up, waiting for what happens next. When the waiter returns with the drinks, the young man suddenly raises his hands sharply, stopping him. Wait, he says, his tone abrupt. What if I break something right now? Will you kick me out? Call security? The waiter is momentarily flustered, unsure of how to respond. I feel the tension rise, but Mary, standing nearby, quickly takes control of the situation. She approaches the table with the same calm confidence she had earlier. We have no reason to kick you out, she says with a slight smile. We're glad to have every guest, and I'm sure we won't have anything to worry about. Her voice is so calm that the tension dissolves. The young man pauses for a moment, then nods. "All right," he says with a smirk, relaxing. "We'll see." They continue their orders, and everything goes smoothly. This was a moment of truth, not for me, but for the entire restaurant. We've shown that change is real, that the new rule isn't just words. We're open to everyone, and that will be our new principle. When I leave the restaurant that evening, one thought echoes in my mind. We did the right thing. We've created a place where everyone is met with respect, and this is just the beginning. The restaurant is thriving. Every day, I see how our establishment has become a place where people can be themselves. I watch as customers walk in, smile, enjoy the atmosphere and the food without feeling any constraints. The White District is no longer an elitist place for the select few, but a symbol of change that Mary and I have created. Everything is going according to plan, as it should be. But I know that this harmony can't last forever. Almost always, when you reach the top, something from the past comes back to try to knock you down. I'm not superstitious, but the feeling that shadows are gathering around me hasn't left me for several days. Success isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning of new challenges, and I feel one of them is already close. This morning I received a strange message. It was an old name from the past, one I'd long buried. Ray. Once, we worked together on the streets. He was the guy who helped me survive when I had nothing. We were close. He always said he helped me more than I deserved and would one day demand repayment. We haven't seen each other in years, but now he's reappearing, like a ghost from the past, and I'm sure he's here to remind me of that debt. I sit in the corner of a small cafe, waiting for Ray. We agreed to meet here, far from my restaurant, far from everything I've built. I don't want him invading this part of my life. Memories of those times when I was nobody echo in my head. Back then, I was willing to do anything to survive. And Ray helped me. Not for free, of course, but he helped. That debt hung over my head like a sword of Damocles all these years. The door opens, and Ray walks in. He hasn't changed much. The same confident stride, the cold stare. His figure in the shadows reminded me of times when we hid in those same shadows, trying to avoid trouble. Now, however, he's not the man I want to cross paths with. "Jackson." His voice sounds like we haven't seen each other for a couple of days, not years. He sits down across from me, not taking his eyes off my face. "Ray," I reply, nodding. "It's been a while." "Yeah, it has. I see you're a big man now. The White District, huh? Nice place. Heard how you changed it, but we'll get to that later. You know why I'm here." I nod, though inside everything tightens. Of course, I know. This debt, it's not something material. It's what he did for me back then, when I was nobody. And in his eyes, I should have paid him back. The problem is, the price he's about to demand is no longer acceptable to me. "I helped you out, and you know I don't forget," he says with a smile I no longer trust. "Now I need something from you." He names a sum, and it's not just money. He wants a part of my business. Ray has always played dirty, always looked for a way to get more than he deserved. I know his methods. He wants to worm his way into what I've built, not just take what's his, but take it all. "You understand these aren't those times anymore," I say calmly. "I'm not the same person I was back then. I have different principles now." His smile turns colder. He knows I'm right, but that doesn't stop him. When Ray leaves, I stay in the cafe, thinking about what just happened. He wants to use what he did for me many years ago to take a share of my success. But now I realize I'm not going to play by his rules. These aren't the days when I was vulnerable, when I depended on people like him. The problem with debts is that they can always be played differently. Yes, Ray helped me once, but his motives were always selfish. I remember how he manipulated others, how he used people's weaknesses, and now he thinks I'll be his next victim. But he's wrong. I've changed. I'm going to handle this on my own terms. The business I've built, my principles, this is my life now. And I won't let Ray use my past as a tool for blackmail. Today's meeting only strengthened my resolve. I'm not going to give him what he wants, but rejecting him outright isn't an option either. I need to find a compromise. I decide to take control of the situation. In the evening, I contact my lawyers and work through a scenario where I can get rid of this imposed obligation. I'll prepare everything so that Ray has no chance of getting what he planned. Maybe I'll even offer him something tempting, something that will allow him to walk away without ruining his reputation. But this time, I'll do it on my terms. I understand that success is not the final goal. It's just the beginning of a more complex path. But I'm ready. I stand in my office, watching as the restaurant comes to life. Every morning, the same routine. Employees rush to their stations, customers start coming in, the smell of freshly brewed coffee fills the air. It should bring me satisfaction. I've achieved what I wanted. The White District is thriving, the restaurant's reputation has been restored, and people love it for the changes we've made. But today, something feels off. For several days now, I can't shake the sense of unease. Threats. They've started arriving anonymously, at first hints, then more direct messages. Someone is unhappy with the changes I've made, and this someone clearly doesn't plan to just watch from the sidelines. I thought it was a game. Someone from the fired staff trying to bring back the old system, or just thirsting for revenge. But the threats are becoming more serious. This is no longer just a petty grudge. This is an attempt to intimidate. I open another message on my phone. There's nothing new in it, just a short phrase. You've gone too far. Strangely, every time I read these messages, my heart remains calm, as if this game is nothing new to me. Perhaps because I always knew. Such moments are inevitable if you're building something new. Mary notices I'm tense. She steps closer, her voice quiet but confident. Is everything okay? She asks, though in her gaze I can see the suspicion that it's far from just regular work. Yes, I reply, struggling to hide my concern. But I feel like someone isn't happy with our success. Mary nods, her eyes flashing with determination. She knows we've embarked on a difficult path, and she, like me, is no stranger to facing challenges. The restaurant is full, like any other day. Guests, pleased with the service, chat at the tables, waiters dart between the rows with trays. But behind this serene picture lies a tension that no one notices. I can't ignore the threats that come more and more frequently. Each message brings me closer to the thought that behind them is not just a disgruntled customer. It's something bigger, someone trying to push me out of the game. Today I decide to increase security. It must look like regular improvements, but for me, it's a matter of life and death. I call the team, guards and managers, into my office. We're increasing security, I say, suppressing the inner tension. We don't tell anyone about the threats, that's unnecessary. But starting today, all entrances and exits are under control. Someone's threatening us? Asks one of the guards, worry on his face. It's just a precaution, I explain, trying not to cause panic. But we need to be ready for anything. We changed the rules, and someone doesn't like that. Mary looks at me with concern. She's always been intuitive, and I know she understands. The situation is far more serious than I'm letting on. But it's important to stay calm, especially in front of the team. After the meeting, I walk into the dining room and watch the restaurant's operation. Everything seems fine, but each time the door opens, my attention is automatically drawn to every new guest. I can't afford to relax. The question isn't if they'll strike. The question is when. Night falls. The restaurant is closed, the staff has gone home, and the building finally grows quiet. But I remain here, in my office, pondering my next move. Fear and anxiety, hidden deep inside, start to slowly crawl to the surface. I know I can't keep up the illusion of control for long. The threats are becoming more real, and tonight I receive the clearest message yet. The sound of my phone vibrating breaks the silence. I glance at the screen. A message. It's short and ruthless. Leave the city, or you'll regret it. These aren't just words. This is a direct challenge. My plan, my work, everything I've built is under attack. For a moment, I freeze. My thoughts seem to halt, sinking into the weight of this threat. But then I feel a cold resolve ignite inside me. If they want to take me down, then I'm on the right path. I always knew that success wouldn't come easy, and that people from my past, or those who want to restore the old ways, wouldn't leave me in peace. But running isn't what I'm going to do. I write a short response. No. And I send the message. It's the only answer I can give. I won't leave. I won't back down. Locking my phone, I step to the window and look out at the empty street. Out there, beyond the restaurant's doors, someone is waiting for my downfall. But I know this place is a symbol not only of my success, but also of the fact that change is possible. And I won't let them destroy what's been built. This is my city now, and I will fight for it to the end. The final showdown is here. I feel it, like the electric charge before a storm. Everything will be decided today. No more threatening messages, no more games of hide and seek. Today, I'll come face to face with those who've been behind all the attempts to push me out of the game. I stand by the window in my office, looking out at the restaurant's dining room. The staff is busy with their work, Mary is giving orders, the guests are deep in conversation. Everything looks as it should, calm and successful. But this illusion of peace is nothing more than a thin veil, beneath which tension is ready to erupt at any moment. All this time, I've been trying to figure out who exactly is behind the threats. My past is full of people who might want to drag me back down into the dirt. But now, I know who it is. One of the former owners of the restaurant, who would like to regain control. He couldn't stand the fact that I not only changed this restaurant, but turned it into a symbol of something greater than just an elite establishment. And now that I've taken his power, he's decided to reclaim it by any means necessary. Today, he suggested a meeting. It's his final game, and I intend to play it on my own terms. Ray, the man who still held parts of the business, sits across from me. We're meeting in the empty restaurant dining room after closing. The atmosphere is tense to the limit. I know he didn't come here for a calm discussion. He wants to reclaim what he considers his. You knew it wouldn't end like this, right? He starts, with a bitter smirk. You can't just walk in and take everything from me. This restaurant has been part of my life for a long time. I look at him, letting him blow off steam. He's used to power, to being in control of the situation. For him, this isn't just business, it's a symbol of his influence. But I'm not here to play by his rules. We've come too far for that. You lost this game yourself, I say, looking calmly into his eyes. You thought you could keep people under control, without respecting them. Your entire restaurant ran on arrogance and discrimination. But now this place is different. People come here not because it's a trendy spot. They come because they feel respected. He smirks, as if not believing a word I'm saying. You've been thinking all along that you could change the world, Jackson. His voice turns colder. The world doesn't change. People want power, and you took it from me. Now it's time to take it back. I lean forward, not losing my composure. This moment is decisive, and I'm ready for it. You want power back, Ray? I ask. Fine. But this time, it'll be on my terms. I'm offering you a deal. He looks at me with interest, but his face betrays no emotion. You'll leave the restaurant alone. Leave it to me and stop interfering in its affairs. I know you need money. I'll offer you an amount that'll allow you to start something new. But this restaurant will never be yours. Ever. Ray is silent for a few seconds, weighing my words. I see him calculating his options. He understands that his fight for power here is doomed to fail. The restaurant is no longer his, and no threats will return his control. But he also understands that I'm not leaving him a chance to win. We sign the documents that finally secure my ownership of the White District. The deal is done. Ray gets his money, but with it, the realization that he'll never reclaim this restaurant. I leave the office, feeling the weight on my shoulders lift. This wasn't an easy victory. It cost me a lot. Sleepless nights, threats, constant tension. But now I know. This restaurant remains mine, and no one will dare challenge that again. I'm no longer just the owner of the White District. I've proven to myself that I can change the rules of the game and stay on top. I walk out into the street. The wind carries the scent of the night city, and I feel a sense of calm finally settling inside me. It's been a long journey, but I've made it. Everything I've built will stay with me. And now the White District is not just a restaurant. It's a symbol that justice can prevail, even when the whole world is against you. I did it. And now this city is mine.